I'm gonna start off this video by saying my prediction right now is either going to be my greatest prediction of all time or the worst prediction I've ever had in my entire life. Brother. All right, so I'm going to start off with Leon Edwards. He's the best welterweight in the world right now for a reason. He's the champion for a reason. He has the most confidence he's ever had in his entire UFC career. Deservedly so. He knocked out Kamaru Usman in one of the greatest knockouts we've ever seen. Probably the greatest come from behind victory that we've seen to date. And he is just an incredible fighter. He is a kickboxer. He gives Joe Rogan a wet dream every time he sees a video of Leon Edwards hitting pads, because picture perfect technique with everything he throws. I just threw an elbow, and that's because Leon Edwards, on top of his nasty striking, his beautiful kicks, his well-rounded striking arsenal, he also has phenomenal elbows, and he throws them very well, especially off of the break when they're exiting the clinch. And I feel like him being a complete fighter is not talked about enough, especially with his last performance. It was not a great performance, let's be real. But one thing we will talk about with that fight is that Leon Edwards took Colby Covington down. Now, I'm not 100% sure if Colby Covington's ever been taken down in his MMA career up until that point. I'm pretty sure he has, but regardless, the fact that an elite kickboxer in everyone's minds took down Colby Covington just to prove a point, because a lot of bad blood going into that fight with Colby Covington talking shit about Leon Edwards' father that unfortunately passed away, which is a whole nother element to Leon Edwards' game, is the fact that he can still win when he is very heated and it gets very personal. But I don't think this fight's gonna ever get to that level. It's just another element we gotta mention when we're talking about Leon Edwards and the experience he's gained from that Colby Covington fight. Although a boring fight, it's still the trash talking and the press conference and everything else you have to deal with outside of the fight. He dealt with it, and he got a lot of valuable experience from that Belal Muhammad just hasn't really got. And I was talking about Leon Edwards taking down Colby Covington, which was a huge deal. But we also got to mention that an even crazier moment was when he fought Kamaru Usman and took Kamaru Usman down. Kamaru Usman was the pound for pound king in the UFC, and he was unbeatable. He was lapping the division. It was just looking like Kamaru Usman was going to retire on top of the world, not losing in the UFC. And he almost did, but unfortunately he ate that beautiful left high kick by Leon Edwards. So the fact that he took him down, controlled him, is just an incredible accomplishment for Leon Edwards, the fact that he's a kickboxer. And also we got to talk about the fact that in the Nate Diaz fight, he took Nate Diaz down. He did basically like a cool trip that he got Nate Diaz with, which was dope, because Nate Diaz is a black belt, an elite black belt. He's been a black belt for so long, it seems like. And there was even a moment in that fight where he had Nate Diaz's back and he was threatening a choke. So basically what I'm just trying to say is don't sleep on Leon Edwards' his grappling, because it is very great, and it's going to be a huge factor in this fight. Because if I'm Belal Muhammad, we're going to get into in a bit. Do you go with the striking route? He's getting better, or do you go the grappling route with Leon Edwards? It's kind of like pick your poison, because Leon Edwards is very, very good. I only mentioned his takedown offense, but his takedown defense is incredible too. If he's not able to stuff your takedown and you actually end up getting him to the mat, he's great at scrambling and getting back up to his feet. He's great at getting his butt against the fence. And also the last thing I want to touch on when we're talking about Leon Edwards' striking is that he always has his opponents guessing. If he's not switching stances, finding different angles, keeping his opponents on their toes, he is throwing feints, he's getting reactions, and he's taking notes down for what he's going to do next to his opponent. When we're on the topic of his striking game as well, he has amazing ground and pound too. He split open Nate Diaz like 14 times in their fight. Nate Diaz, I don't think I've ever seen him bleed so much. I'm pretty sure his brains were leaking out in that fight. It was a very bloody mess. And when I'm talking about Leon Edwards' confidence, his confidence is only gained through the experience he's had. And I mentioned a couple experiences that Leon Edwards has gained with Colby Covington, but he has fought Kamaru Usman 3 times. He's fought Colby Covington. He's fought Nate Diaz. He's fought RDA, he's fought Donald Cerrone, and he's fought Vicente Luque. He's extremely confident. He is on a 12-fight unbeaten streak. Unheard of. You don't hear that very often. Also, in a very important point we got to take into consideration with this fight as well is the fact that it's in England. And I don't know about you guys, I don't know if you remember too well, England has very, very, very sketchy judges. And if Belal takes it to a decision and beats Leon Edwards, it might not even go his way. I'm on to the point of talking about Leon Edwards' weaknesses, and Like, he doesn't have a clear-cut weakness when I was studying and analyzing his fights. Like, wrestling him is probably your best bet. Like, him off of his back, that's probably your best bet to take the fight to. He does slow down in a 5-round fight if there's a lot of grappling involved, as he would. He's human, duh, he's not a lizard. So that's normal. Now, with all that being said, a lot of people, I feel like, think this fight's going to be a walk in the park, and that is definitely not going to be the case, in my opinion, because he's fighting Belal Muhammad. Now, Belal Muhammad, he gets shit on a lot. Deservedly so, not deservingly, I don't know, I just invented a word. Congratulations, you witnessed history. Undeservingly, deservingly, he gets hate regardless. Is it warranted? Is he the most exciting fighter? I don't know. He does go to a decision a lot, but he did knock out Sean Brady recently. Does a porn star have more knockdowns than Belal Muhammad in his UFC career? Yes. Is that insane? Yes. He is an incredible grappler. He has trained with Khabib before. In that Sean Brady fight, he had a training camp with Khabib. He's been a part of that training camp where it's crazy discipline and elite cardio and just elite mindset when you're talking about a fight. So he's gained that experience of what it is to be a true champion, what the training camp looks like if you want to be a true champion. And that's valuable experience that every fighter should be a part of if you can. You know, with his grappling, he's exhausting. And I think the best part about Belal Muhammad's game is the fact that he's a great pressure fighter for the most part. The first thing that comes to mind is the Gilbert Burns fight. He was putting Gilbert Burns on the back step the entire time. His striking in that fight got so much better. His left kick, his left leg is deadly. He was abusing that to Gilbert Burns. His body, his left body kick is nasty, and that's something that Leon Edwards has definitely got to take into consideration. And as well as Leon Edwards, he also has some elite experience of his own. He's fought Gilbert Burns, like I just mentioned. He's fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, I actually haven't mentioned that. I don't know what I'm saying. But he also fought Vicente Luque. He fought Leon Edwards once too, even though it was for like a little round and a half, whatever. And then he also fought Damian Maia and beat Damian Maia, one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners of all time in MMA. That just shows you how great of a grappler he is. If he's able to take Wonderboy Thompson down, who has excellent distance management, regardless, he decisioned Wonderboy Thompson. And I feel like that's even more impressive in a sense if you're able to beat a guy for the full fight instead of finishing him. It's all about perspective. I mean, you can kind of look at it both ways. It's also impressive to finish someone as well. That's why probably my girlfriend doesn't like me too well. And that's why I love her. But what can you do? You know what I mean? There's no way she watches these videos. There's no way. And his striking, does he have an elite, crazy striking arsenal that has spinning kicks or anything like that? No. But he does throw what is in his arsenal. He does throw well. Like I mentioned, his best weapon is probably that left kick to the body. He did knock out Sean Brady. He doesn't throw crazy combinations. He doesn't have the most power as well. It's kind of like an accumulation of punches and just being overwhelming and just exhausting your opponent just from being on the back step. Like, if you guys watch UFC enough, you'll hear commentators say it's exhausting to fight on the back step. And I think that probably one of the biggest X factors for Belal Muhammad is the fact that he's just getting so much better. And then when I'm thinking of weaknesses, like Belal Muhammad, he's got his chin cracked before, he's gotten knocked out before. Just something to mention. But I will say against Sean Brady is more of a grappler, as we all know. And if you don't know, Sean Brady is a grappler. And he was touching up Belal Muhammad a good amount in that fight. He was eating a lot of straight rights and he was eating a lot of lead hooks from Sean Brady. So that just makes me to believe, what is Leon Edwards going to do to Belal Muhammad? I know in their fight before, Leon Edwards finger blasted Belal's eye. Leon Edwards is definitely having a lot more success. He wobbled Belal with the left high kick a little bit, and he was touching Belal a bit on the feet. He was definitely having success. He was definitely being the aggressor, but also Belal took it on short notice. So you also got to take that into consideration as well. And then, of course, the biggest weakness, if not one of the biggest weaknesses for Belal Muhammad going into this fight is, again, it's in the UK. Belal Muhammad, if it goes to a decision, you're probably going to be screwed. That's why for my final prediction for this fight, I don't know why. I just have in my gut, I have a feeling that I think Belal Muhammad's going to win this fight. I think he's constantly getting better. I think the fact that everyone wants him to lose, it's giving him extra motivation. He's used to getting booed everywhere he is, even at his home. He probably gets booed by his own mother, let's be real. It's giving me Sean Strickland upsetting Israel Adesanya vibes for this fight. And I'm going to go with Belal Muhammad winning by decision, even though I just said that shouldn't happen. But I feel like if he wins a title, it has to be by decision. Like if he knocks out Leon Edwards, that's mad. And I just think that Belal Muhammad's going to shock the world. And I got Belal Muhammad via unanimous decision against Leon Edwards in this fight.